Hello, everybody. This is Brad Lewis with Premier Marketing. Hey, thanks for joining us on today's call. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to learn more about the next level final expense product that we've actually been helping the industry grow with for a few months now, so a number of months. But we have Transamerica with us today, and we're going to be speaking specifically about the FE Express Solutions product. And as Jeremiah's slide shows here, it's a game-changing experience for not only you as the producer, but also your clients. And it's been a really good launch for us the last number of months, and the product just continues to gain momentum, and they continue to improve the product as well. So we're excited to share all the details and benefits of the product with you today. If you come across any questions along the way, there's a question section in the GoToMeeting webinar screen that you should see in front of you. So make sure you type those questions in, and we will answer them either along the way or at the end of the call today. And I want to take a moment to introduce Jeremiah Tacker. He's our regional VP in the Heartland region for Transamerica. Jeremiah is not only a really good friend of ours, but he's also a great colleague and helps us grow our final expense business each and every day. The neat thing about Jeremiah is he's very accessible. So I know you guys all work very closely with either Tom or Nate on our final expense team, but Jeremiah also comes into play every day for us with our agents. So he helps us grow our business with you and supports you each and every day. And he's supported by a couple of internals as well that I'll let him introduce a little bit later in the call. But with that, Jeremiah, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you get launched. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you and your guys' partnership as always. Like I was telling Brad before we came on, I'm actually on the road today, so I only have one screen. So Brad, yeah, if you can keep track of the questions, if there's any I need to take at the end or during the call, just go ahead, because I mean, I like to keep these informal. So really, if there's anything that pertains to what we're talking about and we want to hammer that out right then and there, just feel free to shoot them out there. Or I know you're pretty knowledgeable about the product. If you guys want to answer them too, go ahead. But that's kind of the way I would like to work today. And I'm on the road. I'm actually from Iowa, but I am out in Lake Tahoe, California, doing a little skating with the group out here. But I am very excited to take some time away from that to visit with you guys today on what Brad said is a great product that we keep enhancing. I have more enhancements announced today that we're doing or that are coming soon. And excited to share those with you and keep making this product a product that is just accessible for you and easy to work with your clients, right? That's the shift that Transamerica has made, and I don't know if that has been expressed to you guys enough, but we are more on the sense of, hey, how can we make it easier for you to work with your clients? That's where it all starts. If you can build that relationship with your clients with a great product like what we have, and the amount of clients that you can get covered with our product, then we're going to blow numbers out of the water and help you guys grow your business with us. And that's exactly what we're doing. That's why I'm on the call today, is to share some of those things. So as Brad said, type in your questions, do what you need to there. Let's get you the most educated on this product you've ever been. And I am the regional VP of Transamerica. I have, I oversee all of Premier and work with you guys on a regular basis. And if you don't have any contact information for me, I talked about how you can reach out to me or on this webinar, but if you don't have any contact information for me, I do like to share this on the screen as I share with you my background in the industry. So I've been in the industry for about, 20 years now, I think it's going on. Holy cow. Quite a bit of time in the industry. So I spent 10 years with Transamerica, my first stint right out of college, and then I left Transamerica after 10 years with them and went into the field, did a lot of what you guys do every day, talking to clients, writing final expense. I also did Medicare and annuities and ancillary products and the whole game there. Did that for about 6 years as I grew an agency as well. Unfortunately, I had to step away from that 3 years ago. Came back to my roots here at Transamerica and stepped into this role and have been excited ever since because of the leadership we have, the drive, the direction we're going, and everything. And that it's spelled out in our products. with that, guys, I want to give you a little background. I know who you're talking to, not just a regular RVP, but someone who's been in your shoes. But I want to make sure, like Brad said, you have our contact info. Because first and foremost, Premier is awesome, right? They've been a great partner. You have great contacts in Nate and Tom that do a phenomenal job for you guys, and keep reaching out to them, right? We're not discouraging that by any means. They are just as knowledgeable in these things as I am, as anybody is, and they can help you. But again, we understand they get busy, we get busy, and to have multiple contacts is best for you guys, especially if you're trying to get something done here at Transamerica. To have a contact with us, just because we're a large company, is great as well. And so if you, this is the sales contacts, right? So there is a plethora of divisions within Transamerica, right? Commissions, contracting, new business. You know, Brad and Nate and Tom, they all have that contact sheet. We have an updated contact sheet for you guys. They have it. They can get that out to you guys and work with those teams specifically for those specific deals. You know, we can't see much of that on the sales side, if any. And, you know, we're going to have to connect with someone to do that. But we have those teams for a certain reason. We want you guys to utilize them before, you know, if it does become an emergency or something that needs to be expedited, then you can reach out to me and my team. We can do what we need to do. But you do have my contact info there. That's my cell phone and my email. You can call or text me. James and Jason are two internals that work with me. That's their direct office lines and emails as well. But I would say the best place that you can call for the quickest response, and you know, I travel, James and Jason are busy doing some you know, their job here with Transamerica, which is supporting you, but it's also supporting other accounts and things as well. But the best number for you to call is that 866 number. That 866 number, you can call and you'll go into a queue. There's no voicemail, nothing like that. You go into a queue. Sometimes you'll get right in. Sometimes you may wait a few moments to get somebody, but they can help you with quotes, illustrations, product questions, navigating the portal, finding product guides, agent guides, all those things. So that is a great number for you to have. And then I know that, and I can do after this call, send out a bunch of information to Brad and team, and they can get it out to you guys. But that contact sheet is going to be a great one for you to have. You know, I like to get into this as we jump into the FE Express, right? This is a product that's been out for, man, it's about 1.5 years now, right? So, and we've made changes along the way, from underwriting to how you do the signature process, all these things, okay? But the biggest thing I like to point out is the first 2 bullet points: day 1 coverage and underwriting rules. We have made some enhancements to our underwriting for the better, right? Not for the worse, for the better for you guys mid last year. And so right now those underwriting changes have been in the system for several months, right? So it's not just something we launched and you guys have to test and see what happens, right? We have had this for several months now, probably 9 months now, if not maybe a little bit less. But they have been tried and you know, hammered out, and agents are absolutely loving how many clients and what we can do for their clients, getting them approved with Transamerica, especially on the day 1 side. And then this, 1.5 years ago, was our first instant decision product. So, and I'll walk through the process, but guys, this is an instant decision product where no underwriter ever looks at this product. Okay, this is all system generated through Milliman. Okay, so no underwriter ever sees it. And you get a decision within, I would say, 3 minutes of the application, right? And that's a true decision, right? It isn't something that, like I said, goes to underwriting. No, it's a true decision. That is what they're going to get. And you don't have to worry. I know some carriers like to, you know, like maybe approve something and then maybe send it to an underwriter to look at. We don't do that. Well, in fact, I'll lie. We do that, but we do it in the background. It doesn't stop the process of your application, right? We always want to make sure the system's working appropriately. So our underwriters are pulling apps, but not stopping them. They're just making sure the system is collaborating things properly. But it doesn't stop the decision, the process of your app, doesn't delay anything, nothing. We do that all in the background and make sure that doesn't hold up your business at all. So that's a big deal, right? When it's a true decision. And you don't have to deal with underwriting, waiting. You get it right there, and your client knows, and they're happy if they get approved, and they're excited about it. Rates, you know, we are, as I get into that, guys, we are not #1 in rates right now. I will tell you that with an open arms there, but we are very competitive in rates. I don't want that to discourage you from writing us, because we are still competitive. You know, we might be $10 to $12 more expensive than the most inexpensive, or the I would say the cheapest product out there, right? But that's going to change here in a little bit, because I will share with you in a minute, we do have a select, which is basically a standard plus risk class, and we have a graded on this. We are actually going to roll out with preferred rates on this later on this year. So, and I think it's going to come earlier than we expected, maybe second quarter. I don't know, early second quarter or late second quarter. We're going to have preferred rates on this, where we're going to be very competitive at the top rate, right? At that most inexpensive rate for your clients. So you're going to have a fantastic product with, I would say, one of the best underwriting platforms out there as far as getting clients approved in day one, and you're going to have the best rate. Like, this is going to be the best product that you can get, and you're going to be able to, you know, as I go through the underwriting later, you're going to see where you're going to be able to get some pretty unhealthy folks a policy with us, but with those preferred rates coming, we're going to be competitive with those healthy folks as well. So that'll be a way that we can, you know, we can harbor more of your business, and you guys can put more with us and grow your business with Transamerica, and that's what we're excited about. I won't talk about commissions. You can talk about that with Brad and Nate and them. Customized offer upsell, you'll see that later on in the webinar here. Ease of doing business, guys, that I talked about that earlier. Transamerica has revamped themselves into not just being an agent company friendly relationship, but doing more for you to work and making it easier for you to work with your clients. Brand strength, you see the pyramid there, signature process, right? We have the text to sign now, which I'll talk about a little bit later, 6-digit code process, which is super awesome, makes it really easy for you to work with your clients. And as long as they can open up a text message and read you 6 digits, that's all they have to do, but I'll go into more of that later. And we still have Social Security billing, right? So that's another cool feature that we have as well. To talk about the process, guys, this is an overall, it was 10 minutes when we first rolled this out. We have not had an update on this slide deck since we rolled it out, but it is an 8-minute process now. That's average of the agents taking this application, how quickly they can get it done. And I want to spend a few minutes on, I've went over most of that other stuff here. You know, we do, you can talk about those payment options and different things with your team there, and how that works with your commissions and all that stuff. But I really want to talk about the Everest Funeral Concierge Service. If you guys don't know about Everest, Everest is a funeral planning service. So they kind of, what their benefits are is they're going to help service your clients and beneficiaries, you know, pre-planning or planning a funeral, right? They don't pay for it, that comes from the death benefit, right? But they are there to support, guide, help you budget, those types of things. And it's a big deal. We're finding out that more and more agents that talk about this, we're hearing, hey, my client, I sold this, basically, yes, it was a great, we love the process, we love the deal, but they really loved it because of the Everest plan, because of what that entails, right? And that's a big deal for these. They want to make it easier for their beneficiaries to be able to manage their funeral and support and do this when they're passed. That's the most difficult time in someone's life, is when somebody passes, right? So the easier that we can make it, and Everest can make it for you, and those clients are loving it, right? And then there's so many benefits to it, right? I talked about the policy owner having access to Everest, 24/7, 365 access. So they have access to the team. If they want help pre-planning what they should do, any steps they should take ahead of time, they can get a hold of them and talk to them about that. As a policy owner with Everest, they would have access to a site that has things like will prep, healthcare directives, a document storage for these things, not just those things, but also for things like, you know, if you want to store like social media logins or bank account information, or you know, if you have an investment advisor that you work with that they need to contact when you pass away, or other policies or companies that you have life insurance with, or any other things that you have, you can put that information, policy numbers, all the stuff in there, because like I said, it's secure document storage. So when I say secure, that means Transamerica doesn't have access to it, Everest doesn't have access to it. The policy owner has access to it, and they can give access to up to 4 or 5 people, I believe. And those 4 or 5 people can get access to that once their loved one does pass away. But now where it really comes into play is for the beneficiaries, right? Because that's where Everest really hones in. And that's where they really need. Because a lot of beneficiaries like myself, if someone passed away in my family right now, I wouldn't know where to start. Probably find a funeral home would be my first guess. But how do you do that, right? Can you just go out and drive to different funeral homes? Yeah, you can. But I found out working with Everest, there are more funeral homes than there are car dealerships right now. If you probably view funeral homes in a 5-10 mile radius of your house, you're probably going to see like 3, 4, 5 of them. You don't have time to do that. And you think like, oh, I can just go to one and it's fine. No, do you know that funeral homes set their own pricing? Right? So not every funeral home offers the same stuff. And even if they do offer the same stuff, not all of them are priced the same. So how do you know that you're paying more here and you could get the same services over here for a little bit less? Well, that's the key. That's where Everest comes in for your beneficiaries, right? They're going to also provide that 24/7, 365 support. Everest also has a tool called a price finder, and this tool can take your zip code and list out the top, or just the closest 8 funeral homes side by side, showing you what services they provide and then the cost of those services, so that you can see firsthand, what are the services I need and how inexpensive can I do this? Because we all know that final expense is not, right? They're not sometimes the policies don't have the largest death benefits, right? So you got to be able to manage and budget the death benefit that you have, or you're going to come out of pocket, right? And nobody wants to do that, right? That's what we have life insurance for. You don't want to come out of pocket when you do that. And so that's a tool that they have that you can utilize through Everest as well. A couple other things as I wrap up on Everest here. We're right on time here, so perfect for this presentation. But Everest, what they do, a couple of things that I like. I think Everest plan itself does kind of help sell the policy, right? Because Everest is true to change. Like I can't remember the word right now, but we're the only ones that have Everest, right? We're the only ones that can have Everest on their products. Exclusive, that's what I'm looking for. Everest is exclusive to Transamerica. I'm not saying there's not other companies like Everest, but there are, but Everest is really, really good. And that's why we honed in on them for this product, right? So you're only getting Everest through this product. And that's a huge selling point, right, to your clients. And that helps make the sale, what we found out. Also, I think it helps build your persistency, right? We've seen a boost in persistency with the Everest plan. Because guess what? Clients, they buy it. I mean, they could buy a final expense anywhere, right? They're all kind of the same. They all have their little niches sometimes, but there's nothing really unique about final expense in the most part. But there is about Transamerica's with Everest. And when you sell our final expense plan to somebody that wants that, plus they have the Everest, when somebody tries to come in and undersell you, a lot of those clients tell them to kick rocks. And you might lose a few, but a lot of them are going to say kick rocks. I have a great plan with an Everest rider that I absolutely love that's going to benefit my beneficiaries. You don't have that. I can't go with you even to save a few dollars. So we've seen persistency numbers go up. Also, the last highlight that I'll share on this, guys, is the fact that Everest, with the death benefit, which is really nice, they actually pay out the death benefit within 3 business days, which is huge, right? Because I have a sister-in-law whose husband passed away a couple of years ago now. She waited over a month for her death benefit to come from her husband. So she had to come out of pocket for her funeral, borrow money, right? Things like that, right? With Everest, you won't have to, right? Up to 25,000 on death benefit would be expedited and paid out in 3 business days, okay? So that's a huge deal. If there's any remainder, then it'll be paid out at the end of the claims process, or if it's less than 25,000, we'll pay out the full amount to you. So that's a big deal too when it comes to doing that. So right on time with my Everest. If you have more questions on that, I think Brad and team have some information on that. If they don't, I'll send it to them again and they can get that out to you guys as a follow-up. The product itself, right? Let's dive into that. We have not touched on that at all. Some uniqueness about it, right? So we have our Select on the one side, we have our Graded on the other. Okay, our Select, the first thing I want to point out here is level premium stage 100. That's really cool, right? So what that means is if your clients get this policy and they get a select rating, once they turn age 100, their policy's paid up, no more premiums are due, which is another unique piece of Transamerica there, right? So their death benefit is still there. So if they get to 100, paid up, no more premiums, if they die and pass away at 105, we'll pay out the death benefit, right? The other one you see right below that, issue ages, 18 to 85. You know, a lot of carriers go to 85, right? But no carriers go down to age 18 on final expense that I know of. A lot of them start at maybe 35, 40, somewhere around there, right? So we go all the way down to age 18. The other big thing when you get down to the face amounts, minimum 5,000, but I will share with you an update that we just did in January, that ages 18 to 75 is no longer 50,000, it's now 100,000 in face amount. So a huge boost there. So that's a big deal. We've gotten a lot of feedback on that, which has been really well absorbed. There's been a few negatives on that, saying some different stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but just want to share with you the transparency. But yeah, we've had a few say this may happen, but we've had a lot of positive feedback on that 100,000, and a lot of people writing it. And a lot of those policies are just, you know, kind of terms that they weren't eligible for, or, you know, a whole life again that they wanted but not eligible for, right, because of underwriting, where we can get them here for that amount with a final expense with the lenient underwriting that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. That's 18 to 75 up to 100,000. A lot of the carriers start to tear down, you know, as they get older. You know, if they have the policy, they can get it, but issue age wise, whenever you're issuing them, if they're older when you're issuing them, the less death benefit they can get. We don't. It's 18 to 75, 100,000, rounded out 76 to 85, 25,000. Then we have the graded. If you're unfamiliar with our graded option, again, down there you can see 18 to 80 issue ages, so a little different. Minimum 5,000, maximum 25,000 for all issue ages. Our graded, so our graded does work pretty similar to most carriers, but I will go over it. We actually do, if they pass away in the first 2 years on a graded plan, we would return the premiums that they've paid in plus 10% as a death benefit. Start of the 3rd year would be full death benefit. You know, your licensing team can help you out with some of the states here. We're in all states except for Guam, Puerto Rico, New York, and Virgin Islands. They can help you out with that when you call Premier and get contracted if you're not already, or you're getting non-resident states. They can help you out with that. I do want to dive into underwriting, and this is where we'll spend probably a good 10 minutes or more on underwriting. And I hate that you guys are all on mute, because I usually like to play a little game with some of the deals I have. You know, I bring up what medications they have and conditions and see if you guys can guess what they are. But we won't play that today since everybody's on mute, which is fine. I'll just give those to you and show those. But it's very easy to field underwrite our product. Right? When you're looking through our underwriting guide, which is just a link that you can save on your phone, so it makes it very easy and convenient. But if you're looking through that and everything as far as medical conditions, lifestyle factors, height and weight are all select, then you can get select, right? If you have one graded, then it's most likely going to be graded. And if one of those is a decline, more than likely going to be declined. And I say more than likely because we do, like I said earlier, we use Milliman. So Milliman is a third-party vendor that does all of our background and health and script checks, right? So you can underwrite them, but if, you know, as I know from being in the field, some clients don't tell you everything, some clients try to lie, some clients forget. We get that, right? But we're going to find it on Milliman. So that's where I say most likely, because you can field underwrite and get them sort of figured out. But if something comes back on Milliman, not saying it always does, but if something comes back there where we have to change the risk class, then we will. And that's what they'll qualify for at that point. So I'm actually going to jump out of this presentation real fast. If I can move this over. I want to stop this one. There we go. And show. I want to bring up this one. And sorry, I'm having to get really close in here with you guys. Let me see. So we're going to do current slide. So I really want to show you guys this, and this is what we're going to spend most of our time on right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's the underwriting. Kind of give you an idea. Here's kind of what our underwriting guide looks like. Here's like some screenshots of it. But I screenshotted these because I'm going to show you 4 conditions where Transamerica sees a little bit differently than most carriers, like congestive heart failure, CHF. There is not a carrier out there that takes that day one. We will take it select, which is again that standard plus rating. We will take it select. COPD, there are some carriers that will take COPD, but when you include emphysema and chronic bronchitis, again, that's another one where you're not, as you get emphysema and chronic bronchitis, like a lot of carriers won't take it. We again take it day one. That's select, however you've been trained. So I like to share this too. That select is day one level immediate coverage. Okay, so a lot of those terms are used differently amongst groups that train. So just sharing with you those 3 things. That select means day one immediate level coverage. Right, so those are 2 conditions. We have 2 more. Diabetes. A lot of carriers are becoming more lenient on diabetes, right? But when you add things like insulin and peripheral vascular disease, neuropathy, retinopathy, kidney disease, all those things, right? Then it starts to tear down the amount of carriers that's going to take it, even take it, let alone take it graded. But with Transamerica there, you see we're select, day one level immediate coverage, and then rounded out with heart attack and heart disease. Again, topping it off with a select risk class. So those are a couple of conditions where if you're having trouble finding a carrier that might fit those, Transamerica is a great fit. And here's where I kind of play a little game, but I won't be able to today, but that's fine. You guys can still see that if we have a client, well, these are unrelated conditions, so I like to point that out because there is a difference between unrelated conditions and comorbidities, which are related conditions. So these are unrelated. So things like COPD, diabetes with neuropathy, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's. And you guys can answer on your own there in the comfort of your office or home, wherever you are. But if we run Milliman on this and it comes back clean, and these are the only conditions that this client would have, what do you guys think? I know you can't answer me, so it's rhetorical, but think in your head. What do you think this would be? When I run this by a lot of agents, a lot of them say graded, a lot of them say declined. But with Transamerica, we can actually get you day one select coverage. And that's huge. For somebody with COPD, diabetes, you know, these 4 conditions, because I'll be honest with you guys, I've worked with all the carriers out there. I know for a fact that a lot of these carriers will just say, if you have four conditions or more, that you're gonna be a graded or ROP. So why are you writing graded or ROP when you can come to Transamerica and get selects, right? So you've got to do the best for your client, and that's what we're asking you to do, and that's why I'm giving you these underwriting tips here to show you where you can do the best for your client, because that's our job as agents, right? That was my job as an agent, that's your job as an agent, to do the best for your client. And if you're not looking at Transamerica, which I tell people, you're not looking at us very first, like if you're looking at us after you get 2 or 3 declines, I'm confused at why you want to take the client through that and, you know, kind of lose your reputation, right? Because I mean, I didn't like that. That would be a bad thing for me. I didn't want my client to view me as uneducated or not knowing what I was doing. Not saying you guys do, you're just going to the carriers that you work with best, right? That's how we do it in most cases. But when you have this information in front of you and you know that Transamerica takes some of these, why is Transamerica not your first choice? And that's what we're asking today, is with these underwriting rules, Transamerica is taking a lot of these day one. Let's get the best coverage for your clients, and let's get you guys, you know, get them covered with a great product, get you guys paid. I know we have one of the best commissions out there, and you guys are probably loving that as well. And, you know, we got a great product for them. You know, we have this client who has diabetes with neuropathy, lupus, and emphysema. A little less, we get the lupus in there. You know, what are your thoughts? Rhetorically, just think about what would you see in here. I get a lot of, again, maybe not a decline on this depending on how severe the lupus is, but I get a lot of gradeds on this one. But this client, again, is actually select day one. If that Milliman comes back clean and there's no other conditions, this client will get day one coverage. have our last client, who again, this one has CHF, Parkinson's, depression, and Crohn's disease. Again, I get a lot of decline on this one because of the congestive heart failure. But I told you guys that we do take it day one, but now it's, it's combined. And we're like one of the only carriers that takes CHF, but now it's combined with a couple other conditions. So I get hands down decline across the board when I talked about this one. But again, we actually get you day one coverage. And these are all unrelated conditions. So none of them are comboing or stacking on each other, right? They're all viewed individually because they're all unrelated. And that's the uniqueness of our underwriting, where some of the other carriers don't do that. They just stack everything. And if you have 3 or 4 of them, then sometimes they just push you right to graded ROP, where we make it so we can get more of your clients day one. And that's how we do it. We separate kind of the unrelated, stack the combos, and still we get a lot of combos in there too that can be, well, I'm going to show over those. I'm going to show those next.
Hey, Jeremiah, just to jump in real quick, you're talking about the non-stacking or non-related stacking conditions there. It's really cool to hear that from you, but I actually hear that from other carriers that say that Transamerica is issuing policies that they won't take. So it's really interesting when you actually hear it from your competition out there that you guys are issuing policies that they're not currently looking at. So I think that makes it a lot more valid in my mind, at least, and probably should for everybody else as well. So I do have a few underwriting questions while you're in this section that I want to make sure we hit.
Let's go.
If you don't mind. So the first question was, if automated underwriting denies the application, will it automatically be reviewed by somebody? I know the answer to that, but if you want to share it.
Yeah, no. So we kind of took our underwriting and said, no, we don't want you to be a part of this product. We want you to focus on, because we still have fully underwritten products, and a lot of those coming through some of our BGA offices, and a lot of big, large cases that they're handling. And so we really did this twofold. We did this one for the convenience of you guys, right? You guys wanted fast, easy, simple. That's what we gave you. We gave you fast, easy, simple. And 2, we did it to relieve our underwriters, right? Final expense is one of our biggest and most prominent products. We've done it for years. We're going to keep doing it for years. So we get a lot of business on the final expense side. And what we do is, when our underwriters are busy doing this stuff, sometimes the large cases are lost, which we still like those, right? And those clients still need covered too. But having our underwriters tied into final expense was a factor that came in and said, no, we just want to make it fully automated. So no, an underwriter doesn't review it ever, even if it gets declined. If you want it reviewed, what you need to do is, right now, you would need to call Milliman, and they can give you a full report breakdown of what was found on their background, and then you can kind of view from there, again, why it wasn't accepted with Transamerica, and maybe who you could go to next, right? But coming later this year is going to be a platform where we are going to give you why the client was declined on the application. So that's another tool that's coming, which is going to be really, really nice, because I know working with Milliman's not the easiest thing. I know it's tough when you're sitting across from a client and you say, I'm sorry you got declined, and they're like, why? And you're like, I have no idea, right? Because you don't know what happened. I've been in your shoes. I've had to answer that question and say, I don't know, right? That was, the company underwrites you. I don't underwrite you, the company does. So what we can do is call Milliman and do that. But eventually you won't. Later on this year, you will be able to see why they are declined on the application. You will be able to answer that question for your clients, which is awesome. We're probably going to be the only carrier that's going to be able to do that for you. Now, other carriers might catch up, but that'll be one that will be really nice for you to be able to now answer that question for your clients on why they were declined, if they were. So yeah, Brad, that was perfect, because it gave me a little segue into what's coming and what you guys can be ready for and why we're doing that. So I appreciate it. What other questions do you have?
Yeah, just got a couple specific underwriting questions. One's showing on the screen right now with felonies, and then the other one is AFib and issue is the other one. But just 2 questions, one on felony and one on AFib, as far as how you.
Yeah, so we'll get into AFib here in a minute, because I got a couple of combos with AFib in it you're going to be able to see. But with felonies, I will let you guys know they do have to be, fines paid, off of probation. For, some felonies, 8 years, most felonies, 10 years. So you can sometimes get it at around 8 or 9 years, but most of them are going to be a 10-year look back on those. So, and they will have to be clean of all charges, out of prison or jail, and off of probation for that length of time too. And then AFib I'll touch on here, so in a minute. So if we don't have any other questions, I'll go ahead and move forward on this if that works for you guys.
Go ahead.
Perfect. All right, perfect, guys. Good questions. Love it. So I want to talk about where we're, I've shared a lot about where we are good, but I want to talk about where maybe we're not as good or more, I guess, more relevant with other carriers, right? I wouldn't say not good because more carriers are looking at these things the same way we are. Like alcohol and drug abuse. We're a little tougher on that, but I think a lot of carriers are, especially if it's combined with other conditions. Right, we're going to be a little tougher on that. Cancer is another one. Cancer is going to be 2 years plus is graded. So 2 years free of cancer can be graded. 4 years free of cancer is going to be a select. So those are a couple of spots where I would say we're not tougher than other carriers. We're more relevant. We're right there with them. Then we do have, I think, the most important question that you can ask your client, especially like the AFib, goes along with AFib, CHF, heart attack, stroke. The most important question you can ask is this hospital question. Have you been in the hospital for 2 or more nights within the last 12 months? That's the big question. Because a lot of our stuff that I'm going to show you next on the related conditions are going to include those conditions. And if they were in the hospital for 2 or more nights within 12 months, they will get declined, right? Some of them will take if they're outside of that, but they will get automatic decline if they were within 12 months. But again, the bright side of it, like I just mentioned, if it's 2 or more nights outside of 12 months, they're good. If it's just overnight, within a year, outside of a year, it's good. And obviously no hospital. No hospitalization is great. So we do have a lot more wins than we do losses there, but I just want to share that. And I want to share one thing. I misstepped this. Yes, when Brad talks about other carriers saying, yeah, we're taking more than what they will take. And a lot of carriers are fine with that, right? Because we're taking some more unhealthy folks. And a lot of carriers aren't big on that. We will accept them. They're not big on that. They want some healthy business as well. But where they're gonna really fill our footprint, Brad, and you guys are gonna feel it too, is when we roll out those preferred rates. When we do that and we start getting competitive with your healthy clients too, with the process and the product and the underwriting and all that stuff that we have, yeah, we've taken some super unhealthy folks that a lot of carriers won't. And they're recognizing that. And we're getting that business, which is fine. We can accept that. But they're okay. They're like, yeah, send all your business, send all that crappy business to those unhealthy folks at Transamerica. We'll take all your healthy folks. But where they're going to fill that footprint is when we roll out those preferred rates and we really get a lot of business coming our way, because we're going to have some great rates, great product, and everything that's going to fit right into that mold. So they may not feel it now, but they're going to feel it coming up. And we want to get you guys first dibs on when that comes out. So we will make sure Brad and team knows when those preferred rates roll out, because we would love to have more and more of your business, having you guys qualify for more things and that stuff. So, but now let's jump into comorbidities real fast. All right. So here's kind of a chart that we've come up with. It has about 14 comorbidities out here that we've taken a look at, maybe some changes to, right? This is how we used to look at them, right? This was back in July of last year when we made these changes, I believe, right? So this is how we used to look at them, which is probably relevant to most carriers, which is fine. We're okay with that. But we wanted to, again, set ourselves apart. We've done it with Everest. We did it with our underwriting. We set ourselves apart in multiple facets. And what we did, these first 4 right here, we took those from graded and made them all select. So we're talking like really intrinsic, comorbidities, COPD and stroke, COPD and stroke, CHF and diabetes and stroke, right? Those are all day 1 level immediate coverage now. The next 4 here, we got our graded in there, we got 1 select. But look at that. Diabetes and renal failure, when I was in the field, that was always a GI product. Now you can get it graded, right? Why would you go GI when you could go graded Transamerica? And a lot of you are probably saying, oh, price. Well, if you've looked at our graded lately, you'll know that we repriced it middle of last year as well. And we're actually, I'm hearing a lot more, and I've seen from like different quoting softwares, we actually beat the price of GI in a lot of senses. Right? A lot of cases we beat the price, or we're right there with it, or maybe a few dollars more, you know, in some cases. But we are right there competitive price. So price is not an issue anymore. And two other reasons why I would say why not write graded with Transamerica outside of GI. Right? That was one, was the pricing. When we solved that, pricing is now even. But with our graded, you have Everest. I would love if somebody could come off mute and tell me a GI product that would have something like Everest on it. They don't. So you're getting that benefit. And the third one really is not a client benefit, it's a you benefit. I will bet you my next paycheck that every single one of you probably make more commission on our graded product than you do a GI product. Hands down. I used to work in the industry and I know the commissions, right? So I know that you're getting a better payout than you are on GI. So why not write some of these graded if you need to? These last 6. So here's where AFib comes into play. You got a couple of conditions there with AFib. Guys, look at those. Those are super unhealthy folks that we're able to take. And if we can, we're going to stretch this out. Right now, it's like here, right? We've got some mediocre healthy and some really unhealthy folks that we're taking. So you got this small gap. You got this small portion of people that we're able to really get and hone in on. And you got your super healthy folks that, you know, we're still competitive with, but if you need to save a few bucks, you're probably writing somebody else. But now if we take this we're missing out on and we stretch it out and we can get the healthy, the mediocre healthy, and the super unhealthy, because we have a huge range of folks that we can get covered with Transamerica, and business is going to explode, and you guys are absolutely going to love it, right? And when you can get people like this, CHF and stroke, CHF, AFib and stroke, COPD, CHF, and AFib, you're getting them select day one immediate coverage, right? That's big. That's where the other carriers are talking about. They don't know yet that we're going to roll out preferred rates and really crush it. So I'm excited for that. And I think I went way over on underwriting. So I'm going to jump out of this one. I want to run through the underwriting, not the underwriting process, but the application. So let me dive down into the application process.
Yeah, I got a couple deep dives into underwriting. Do you want to touch on those now, or do you want to take those offline? I don't know how much you got to cover here yet, Jeremiah.
Yeah, I would take some deep dives offline. Again, it's all, okay. You guys, what you see on the underwriting guide that I'm going to share with you in a link later is what you're going to be able to do, and it's really what I'm going to be able to tell you, honestly. You know, and again, we don't have an underwriter you can really talk to. You're kind of going into that app and taking their conditions, and you're looking at the underwriting guide saying, yep, based on all of these, you're good. You're telling me everything, you're fine. And if something comes up in their milliman that is outside of that, then, you know, nobody can help that if they're not going to tell you that or be open with you. I know that's the struggle in your guys' world. Wish that we could read agents or our clients' minds and be able to see, you know, everything that they're thinking about or not telling you. But again, every carrier can only say, hey, here's how we look at things. Here's what it's going to be. If something comes back in milliman, that's fine. But that underwriting guide is going to be your key. Look through that. The condition should come up. If it doesn't, then reach back out to me or my team. We can try to help you. But yeah, let's do that. I want to take those deep dives offline, and I'll share with you a link and how the underwriting guide ended up. Look at that first before we dive into it, and then contact me if you can't find something in there. And I may be able to kind of give you an idea of what we can do there. All right, so let's talk about the digital experience. I'm going to go out to the home screen in a little bit and show you where to go. And I'll walk through maybe the pre-qualification with you. I really want to get into the application. When you dive in the application, you're going to be in person or virtual. So the process is exactly the same no matter what you're doing. It's just the signature method is different. So I'm going to show you the in-person as we go through the app. And the same places that we do the in-person signature, we're going to do the virtual signature. All right, and I'll show you the virtual signature at the end. So in person, yes, you get personal information, right? What every carrier needs. You get health information, which every carrier needs, and lifestyle information, which some carriers take. I believe most of them do. But then after that, your client's ready to sign. So again, you guys just noticed, what did we ask for? Just the health and personal information and lifestyle. We didn't ask for bank account yet. We didn't ask for beneficiaries. We don't need that before getting you an approval. That's where that 3-minute deal comes in. That, depending on how unhealthy they are, that might take you 3-4 minutes, maybe even 2 to fly through that. But then your client signs. So it says to hand off to your client. I probably wouldn't in my case. I'm going to read these to them, check the box, hit continue. I'm going to verify this information, check the box, continue. I don't have to click on the PDFs there to move forward. You don't have to do that. The Everest rider is automatically built in. I don't think I mentioned that. So there is no extra cost. That's automatically built in. If they're approved, they get it. So that's checked. You read them the verbiage below, and then you turn it over to your client. Whether you have a tap screen or a mouse click, all you got to do is tap or click in that box, and it loads their signature. You don't have to sign, just tap or click, save signature, and then you as the agent would sign. And then once you sign, about 30 seconds later, it's going to give you an approval or a decline. And what it's going to do is we actually wrote this for 25, but it's going to tell you they're eligible for up to the max coverage. This is kind of that customized upsell option. I used to tell all of my agents, upsell if you can. Talk to them about more coverage once they're approved. They're happier. They're excited. They might be interested in more. But a lot of agents don't know how to get into that. With our upsell process, it kind of pushes you into that. You can say, hey, Miss Betty, I know we wrote you for 25. Congratulations, you're approved. You have coverage now. You're setting your family up for a great financial background. Unfortunately, when you do pass away, they are taken care of. But with your approval, did you know that you're actually approved for up to the max of, well, this will be, it'll say 100,000 now, but 100,000 in coverage. Now that you're approved and you're the healthiest that you're probably going to be, would you like to explore more? We could look at this amount, this face for this amount, or this face for this amount. So it kind of pushes you into that. Basically, you finalize coverage. It tells you right here, you're eligible for 50. It would be 100 now. You quoted for 25. Here's where you can make the changes. There is no signature. There's no approval, nothing like that. All you need to do is change the desired coverage amount or the premium amount. You can switch to premium amount and change the premium amount and set it up. This will actually change from 25 to 40, as you can see there. Then we confirm coverage. Now you're done. So it kind of walks you through the upsell. Now that they're approved, now they have their true decision, they're good, they have coverage. Now we get the beneficiaries. Now we get the banking. Do they want to pay monthly? Do they want to pay annually? Immediately, do they want to schedule a payment? They want to schedule a payment, but it's on Social Security, Direct Express card. Make sure you're choosing Social Security billing. Okay? So they can schedule a payment on Social Security billing. So don't miss that on there and choose that. If they're using the Social Security Direct Express card, you utilize that with Social Security billing and schedule a payment through there. If you're using a regular debit or credit card, you can schedule a payment, or a bank account, pay immediately. Choose one of those options, roll forward, and then you put the bank account information in. And now you as the agent would sign again. And then you walk through this with your client. This is covering the whole application, just verifying. You read the last verbiage to them and sign and pay. That's when they would, again, you would go through that verbiage again like we did before, and they would tap in the box to sign. Now the policy is submitted. You get a policy promise. You can leave with them right away. They can have it. That has all their information on it. They will have access to a policy, electronic policy, once the premium goes out. They will get that from their portal. You can also get it from your portal. If they don't log into their portal for 10 business days after the draft, we will send them a paper policy. And then just to look at the email signatures, this is kind of what it looks like, right? You're going to get to our text signature, sorry. You're going to get to the text message, right? You're going to verify their phone number. Once you verify, you don't have to click anything. You're just going to read their phone number to them, verify it. Then you choose yes. You be like, hey, do you give us authorization to send you text messages? They say yes, you click the box. And then you go down and you confirm and send documents. And what that does, it sends your client 2 text messages from a 469 area code. So a 469 area code, which is nice. because that's nice to have if you're doing virtually. So your client can know that's not a spam text, that's you. They're going to get 2 texts like this. One's going to have a link in it, which is just to review their documents. They don't have to click on that to move forward. Again, do not have to click on that to move forward. They're going to scroll down to the second text to get you the PIN code. They give you that PIN code. You read this script to them, check the box, type in the code, and you sign. Now, both of the areas in the application that I showed you where you're going to sign, you're going to do this. You're going to get they're going to get 2 different PIN codes. You can't use the same PIN code for the second one, right? You're going to send them another text with the PIN code. They'll do it twice, okay? So all they got to do is read those texts, give you those 2 codes throughout the app. That's all they have to do on there, and besides answering the questions. So with that, I want to just share a few things because I know we got about 9 minutes left here. So I do want to show you guys this deal right here. This is a paper application. So we don't have a paper application with this, right? It's all e-app, but we had our underwriters go through this, and basically what they did is they kind of went through, this is a replica of the e-app, right? All the same medical questions, all in the same order. They kind of told you what are knockout questions, you know, how we view smoking, how we view DWIs, you know, within 2 years or outside, and then goes on to the medical history, is doing the same thing, how we view it within or outside 2 years or all together. So that's a pretty unique cheat sheet to have, which is nice. I believe the team there has that and can get that out to you, but I'll send that over too as well. I also, let me move this real quick. Also have this, oops, not that, this website. Maybe, that's our contact sheet. Where did that website go? Oh, it's over here. This portal, so our portal is secure.transamerica.com. I don't think I can type in the chat. I don't know if you guys can see it. Brad, can I type, am I able to type in the chat or not?
Sorry, yes, you can. You should be able to, or yeah. I can as well.
I got you here. So secure.transamerica.com. So that's our portal. Right, that's where you need to go. That's where I'm at right now. And that's where I'm going to log into. I'm going to share a quick link with you over here to the right. And then we're going to, I'll take some final Q&A, and then we'll get you guys on your way. Oops. So here's our portal where you can go to get this application, right? A lot of you guys have been with us for a long time, and we appreciate your guys' business, right? We love it. That's why we're making these enhancements to stick with the times. But you guys have probably always gone to iGo eApp, right? And that's where you might still be going. And I'm here to tell you that's the wrong place. If you want to go to iGo eApp, you can go there for our fully underwritten products. Our old immediate solutions, final expenses on there as well. But again, that's I call that a fully underwritten because it does go through an underwriter. Right, so I include that in our fully underwritten products, right? But you want to go down here. This first tab in the second row of tabs says FE Express and FFI UL2 Express online application. This is where you're going to find the FE, the one I'm talking about today with all the enhancements that we've made. So if you click launch, and if it's not here, again, just look for that title, FE Express and FFI UL2 Express online application. Okay, if I launch that, it's going to come up with a new portal. And I didn't show you the screenshots of this because I wanted to walk through this. But you're going to be able to, again, quote the client, do a pre-qualification on the client. So here's where you can get in and do some more additional underwriting, really. If you want to do more than just your field underwriting, you can come in here and do the pre-qualification tab and then go right into the new application. But you can get there from quote. Most people are going to quote first. Probably, and then pre-qualify maybe first and then quote, but either way, you have it here, you type in your gender, date of birth, and state, and then you select your risk class here, and then you hit continue. It's going to pop up with 10,000, but all you guys need to do, it automatically goes to solving for a premium, but if you click on premium to save for a face amount, click in here and click 100,000, it's going to pop up right there. So 100,000 on, I don't even know how this guy, born in 1975, so what is that, 85, 95, 205, 15, 50 years old, $468 a month, or sorry, $40 a month, $468 annually for $100,000 in coverage on a 50-year-old. That's a pretty decent price. Not gonna lie to you, but that's how you quote it. As that's as easy as we can make it, and then you go right in to start the application from there. Super simple. I also want to share this link here. This is our FE Express toolkit. So I'll share that link in the chat. Hopefully you guys can all see this and paste it in here. There we go. So that's our FE Express toolkit. If you look through here, as you have just kind of an online training course you can do. You don't have to take it to write the product, but it's just an overview of what I've done for you today in the shorter version. Comparison flyer. Again, you have on our the left side here our FE Express. On our right side, our Old Immediate Solutions. So make sure if you want to write the Express that anything that you show down here has Express after it. If it doesn't, it goes back to our Immediate Solutions. And then you can go down here. You can some more tools. Got some videos, some demonstrations, things like that that you can utilize out here. And this is a site you don't have to log into. So you can use this as a recruiting deal, or just go out here yourself and get more information. One thing I do want to share with you guys, Insurance Central is a very important piece of what you guys need. This is our whole marketing portal with all of our information, webinar trainings and product information, you know, all the updates, everything like that. But the big thing I want to send to you guys is down here at the very bottom of this homepage is webinars. So I know with Premier we have a great relationship, and we do these webinars periodically. But if you, I'm going to share this link too. If you guys scroll down on this link, our sales team does at least 12 to 13 webinars every month. They're all set up at the end of the month. So in February, they set all these up and they're out here. And in March, they'll do the same. When it comes to the end of March, they'll put out brand new dates and times with different product trainings. So you can see them all here. They pretty much cover everything and anything. So I'm going to share that one out here as well, because I think it's an important piece for some of you that want to learn on your own or expand what you're doing. Is a great deal for you guys to do there if you want to. So that is, I think I just shared that so you guys can have that as well. But Brad, with that, we're right coming up on the top of the hour. Is there any questions that I can answer for you guys before I let you go for the day?
Thanks, Jeremiah. Yeah, let me take a look at the list here real quick. Do you have access to Everest real quick where you can show where that site's at and kind of the resources? I know there's a great video there that you could show.
I don't, but I can send you the links and stuff with that you can send out. Actually, yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to find it on my one screen right now, but yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Yeah, I know that's included here. You're blind. You're really sunshiny right now, by the way.
Am I?
Blocking you out.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you, sir. Yep. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, there's Brooks commenting on that too.
Yeah, and like Brad said, that there's a link. Well, there's a PowerPoint that I have, and there's like 4 links that you can use in front of your clients. Their client-related links. Just talk about why Everest is important. Does a great job, or you can just kind of have it on your phone or your laptop and just hit play and let it play and share with your clients. It's really cool.
I do have another question based on payment methods, just to see if you have any insight on this or if Transamerica does. It's a great question, actually, because I know placement, persistency, all those things come into play with everybody. So what Brooks was looking for is if we have any statistics on cancellation ratios for Social Security payments versus, whoops, I had something pop up there, versus ACH or direct bill. Just seeing if Social Security payers, if they have a lower cancellation ratio, or if there's any data on that, how you guys feel about that.
I don't have exact data, but I know, you know, in order of best to worst, you know, ACH is obviously the best. That's the best persistency of what we have. Right behind that is Social Security Direct Express cards. You know, we wouldn't do it if it wasn't. And then obviously way farther down is the credit and debit card. That's where we see the most And then we don't even take direct pay on the FE Express. So that's absolutely bottom of the barrel as far as lapse rate in that. So we don't even offer it on the FE Express. So that's kind of how they rank. And I would tell you the top two are well above that third one and those next two, right? So the ACH and the Direct Express cards are way above, the credit and debit cards, and then way above the direct pay. So
and you guys do true Social Security billing.
So yep, we do true Social Security billing. Yep.
Right. So you're matching up exactly with Social Security. So that's one feature that you guys excel at, that you do very well.
Yep.
So that makes that's critical, because some carriers match up to it, but they don't quite get it right sometimes, especially when you get around holidays or weekends, things of that nature. So that's very, very important.
Tough.
So,
definitely.
There's a few other questions relating to underwriting that we will reach out to you on. Make sure that you have a good answer on those. Jeremiah did point out the underwriting tool that you can use that's before the application, which is a great useful tool that you can use, but sometimes it doesn't fit for everything. So with Transamerica, with their instant decision, one of the reasons I like the product is because I can go in there, and if I have a questionable client that has multiple conditions, I can get an answer right there and then of where I'm at. So it's really kind of the go-to carrier for us there, where at least we know where we land with the carrier and with the company. So, and then let's see here if I have any other ones. Mary Beth, we can reach out to you to get you contracted. So we'll make sure we reach out to you about that, and we'll. That looks like that's it for questions today, Jeremiah. So I know if you have any further questions, if you want to call in, talk to either Nate or Tom, they'll be taking your calls today, and make sure that you get all your answers to all your questions that you may have. We look forward to working with you with Transamerica and just helping grow in your final expense business in 2026. Jeremiah, as always, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you carving out some time for us today. And you guys are a great partner with us, and we really appreciate all you do. And to everybody else on the call, thanks again. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Have a blessed week. Bye, guys.